over again. I've talked about leptin before, specifically the leptin melanocortin system, right? And this leptin system is really important. If you are a mammalian, right, you really need to understand leptin. I mean, leptin melanocortin system, because this system builds our species for millions of years. You're talking about the reward pathways. You're talking about, knowing when you are in starvation and knowing when you're, talking about adequate nutrition and inadequate nutrition, and your body being able to decode that, right, to signal reproduction or fat storage or energy expenditure, which is energy for work and energy to keep you warm. These have to do with this leptin melanocortin pathway. It's really crucial, right? You talk about mental health, brain health. You talk about weight management, control. You're talking about, your cravings, right? The kind of food that you crave. It all depends on the leptin melanocortin pathway or system, homeostasis, right? If you have too much of leptin, then all of these things that I talked about, your body getting the signal of adequate nutrition or inadequate nutrition, which means starvation, all of those things are going to be blunt. Your body will not be able to tell the difference between them, right? Talked about, even sleep and being awake or eating, your ability to control feeding, satiation, and hunger. These all depends on leptin, right? Because it makes sense if you are under survival, if you're running away from a tiger, if you're in chronic stress, if you're in stress, right? That your body needs glucose to fuel. So your craving changes, right? You want stuff that are sweet, that are sugary, right? All our desires are basically shaped by leptin. Our sexuality, puberty, weight management control is determined by leptin homeostasis. Now, what causes too much of leptin or too little leptin, so that all of these signals are not being received by the brain, which is called leptin resistance. When your body is not receiving the signal of satiety, of sleep, of, it's time to sleep, or it's time to wake, it's time to eat, your sexual cycle, your reproduction cycle. When you cannot have a baby, for example, then it's leptin. If you cannot maintain focus, right? See a project through. If you're struggling with weight management, this has nothing to do with willpower. It has everything to do with biology, and that is to do with leptin melanocortin system. And this thing is inside, this neuron is inside, this nucleus, these neurons are inside the hypothalamus, which is more like an interface to the solar system, to the environmental changes, right? So the changes in light and darkness in the day, they affect nutrient, they affect leptin, they modulate leptin, they signal leptin either to switch off in the morning, right? To come down in the morning, or at night to go up, right? And leptin is really important. We don't control our weight management. You can go to the gym and do too much exercise, right? Which is now a problem today. People doing too much exercise is a problem. That's because people are trying to do it top down. You're trying to control it. And people, dieting is also leptin resistant. Over dieting, right? Today's carb, today's keto diet, right? All of these things at the root are leptin resistance. and not understanding leptin. And so all I here to say today is that leptin is really important. We need to pay attention to leptin. Leptin follows light and dark cycle. If you have too much artificial light at night, leptin goes off. So you cannot sleep, melatonin cannot climb, your body cannot go into parasympathetic, your body cannot go into ketosis. If you never go out at sunrise, and if you keep on skipping breakfast, leptin becomes too little, right? The same goes with chronic stress, affect leptin. If you're not getting environmental signal at the right time, leptin, over time, you'll become leptin resistant. And this is where all our problems start. Whether craving too much sugar, and sugar is not the problem here. Whether, worrying about the fact that you're going to get fat, or you have no control over your weight management, it's because you don't understand leptin. Leptin control all of those things. Thank you for watching. I tried to do my best in this video. If you want to know more, if you're curious, send me a message in the DM, and I will be very open to having a conversation.